everyone. Alex Serrata here from Zeemac. Unfortunately, the Yellow Dog video didn't have sound, so hopefully we'll get to hear that again afterwards. But I'm here today to introduce Jenn MacIntyre. She's a manager of industry development for Destination BC. So Destination British Columbia is a provincially funded, industry-led crown corporation that supports a strong and competitive future for BC's tourism industry through a combination of global marketing, destination development, industry learning, cooperative community-based programs, as well as visitor servicing. So Destination BC receives approximately $52 million each year out of a provincial investment of about $140 million in BC's tourism ecosystem as a whole. So these investments help to improve the visitor experience, support businesses and communities, as well as strengthening BC's worldwide reputation as a destination of choice. So happy to introduce Jenn MacIntyre.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just getting myself organized here. Sorry, just one second. Sorry, I can't get the slideshow started. There we go. Excellent. All right. Thank you so much, Alex, for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining me this afternoon. So I have a little secret to share about myself. I'm not much of a beer drinker, and I get that that's probably a weird way to start. A weird way to start a presentation at a beer conference, but stick with me for a minute. I actually do really appreciate craft beer culture. So this past summer, when we all had sort of the briefest of moments where we were allowed to travel around the province again, I got to travel to Vancouver Island and was visiting some friends there in Victoria. And they wanted to take us to their most favorite place in Victoria, and that happened to be Phillips Brewing. And so it was an interesting day for me to be sitting around the table with a small group of friends because I saw every type of beer tourist there. There was our hosts who were craft beer enthusiasts, and they are the type of people that wherever they travel, they're always going to look for a local brewery where they can taste some local flavors. Then there was a friend who was a avid cyclist, and he just enjoyed having a really nice cold beer after a hot day of biking. And then there's me, who just likes to socialize with friends, and getting to do that in a cool environment like a craft brewery is probably one of the best places to do that. So, beer and tourism really do go together like hand in glove. So today, I'm hoping to share with you some really practical bits of information, programs and services that Destination BC has to offer to help you engage more effectively with visitors to the province. So just a little bit about me. As you know, my name is Jenn MacIntyre, and I'm coming to you this afternoon from the territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish Indigenous nations. And I feel very privileged to be able to live and work here. I've worked in tourism for the last 2 decades now on 2 of Canada's beautiful coasts, first in Nova Scotia and now here in British Columbia. And I've held a variety of positions from marketing and communications, but my real passion is destination and experience development. And now I manage the industry development unit at Destination BC, as Alex has shared, where we get to develop a number of really interesting programs and resources that are designed for small businesses. So you've already heard a little bit about Destination BC. We're a crown corporation funded through the government and led by industry. We work with partners all across the province, including Indigenous partners and regional and community tourism partners, and with our primary mandate to attract visitors to British Columbia and ensure that the quality of experience that they're having here encourages them to come back again. And we have 3 business units or divisions that I just want to quickly share some info on. There's our global marketing division, and the global marketing division develops content for Destination BC's owned, earned, and paid media channels. They undertake digital advertising, social media promotion, And they also manage the relationship with travel trade and travel media. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit in a few minutes. Then there's the destination management division, which is the division that I work in. And we look at the long-term strategic direction for tourism through destination development and planning, as well as the short-term need for product development. That division also manages the cooperative marketing program, which I think many of you might already be familiar with because the BC Ale Trail is funded through that program. And we also operate the visitor services network. So there's about 130 visitor services across the province that share information through our network. And then finally, we have a corporate development division, which includes, as you would expect, human resources and finance, but there's also a couple of external facing business units, corporate communications, and research planning and evaluation. And I'm going to talk a little bit about those units in a few minutes as well. So, notwithstanding the very challenging year that was 2020, we're all very fortunate to work in the tourism industry. It was one of the fastest growing industries in the world globally, and BC was no exception for that. In British Columbia, tourism generated $20.5 billion in revenue for the close to 20,000 businesses that comprise the industry, and also generated $1.7 billion in tax revenue, which gets spent on things like maintaining roads and running schools and hospitals and things like that. Now, we are going to obviously have some challenges ahead in the coming years as we rebuild back our industry to be a resilient and sustainable industry that we all know it can be. Today, though, I'm going to focus on 3 areas of opportunities: promotional opportunities, educational opportunities, and informational opportunities. And at the end of each section, I've included emails and website links so you can access all the information I'm going to talk to you about. And I am going to share this PDF with the conference organizers, and hopefully they can share that with you as well. So let's get started looking at promotion. So first, I'll talk to you about Hello BC, which is our consumer-facing website. Travelers use this website to research and plan their trips to British Columbia. And when your business is listed on that site, when a visitor clicks on your business link, they go through to your website, and that generates a new lead for you. So there's really 2 areas on Hello BC that I want you to be aware of. One relates to content and the other relates to business listings. So for content to be shared on any of our channels, including Hello BC, we're looking for a story. Now, it doesn't have to be a fully developed story that has maybe taken you a while to develop, but we are looking for an interesting hook, an interesting character, a new angle, something unique that you can offer, because those are the kinds of things that keep our visitors engaged with content. And while it does happen occasionally, we don't generally promote an individual business in any of the content we do. Rather, we like to promote a variety of businesses. And so this is why the BC Ale Trail content is so compelling for us, because they'll often feature a number of breweries as well as other things to see and do in an area, and it's an easy way for us to share that information. So we might want to spotlight, for example, an ale-friendly community that's got some really cool offerings, but we'll also want to talk about the hiking and the biking and the wildlife viewing that people can do in that community as well. It's that compelling opportunity that really keeps readers' attention. And of course, in the times that we're in right now, safety protocols are key. So it's important when we do promote businesses that you're ensuring that your COVID-19 safety plans are front and center to reassure travelers that they can safely visit your community and your business, and they know they're going to be hopefully not exposed to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we take a very similar approach on social media in terms of content. And so this is a great example of an Instagram post that features the Lower Lonsdale neighborhood in North Vancouver. And you can see that Streetcar Brewing is just one of the many businesses that are featured in this post. So one of the easiest ways for you to connect your content with us is to use the hashtag ExploreBC or @HelloBC on Instagram. And when you use those tags, that will ensure that our social media teams see your content. And if they feel it's an appropriate content for us to share, they'll reach out to you and seek permission for that. I also want to mention our Stay Local guides. So this is a content page on Hello BC where we're curating stories from partners in communities across the province. So the content on these pages is really designed for the local residents in those communities. So to keep us in line with the provincial health orders and just encourage people to stay close to home. So to be featured in this Stay Local content, it's a good idea for you to reach out to your community DMO and share with them any news or offerings that you might want to offer, and they will round all of that up, share it with us, and we'll ensure that it gets featured on those pages. Now, on to business listings. So you can list your business on Hello BC for free. You do need to have a TripAdvisor listing, but once you've done that, you can log into our portal, and all you have to do is add in a couple of bits of information that we can't gather through TripAdvisor. So we have a partnership with TripAdvisor that allows us to pull in their data, and then you just go in and add a few things like your phone number or your social media handles and things like that. Then once you've done those two steps, you only ever have to maintain your TripAdvisor listing, because as you update it there, it will update for you on Hello BC automatically. Now, in addition to this basic listing, there's 3 other things around business listings that I do want to share with you. So first of all, as you all know, businesses have to post their COVID-19 safety plans, both on their business site, their physical site, as well as their consumer-facing website. So now we've created an opportunity on Hello BC for businesses to link directly from their listing to their COVID-19 safety plan. This is a great way to reassure travelers that you've taken all the steps necessary to protect your employees and protect them from potentially being exposed to COVID-19. Now, we only have 224 businesses on the site that have done that, and we definitely would like to see those numbers come up. So I encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity when you can. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that you can now add accessibility features to your Hello BC business listing. So about a year ago, our team at Destination BC worked to develop a number of accessibility features across several different categories, including hearing, mobility, and eyesight. And we're just in the process now of adding cognitive accessibility features for those that might be affected with, for example, autism or dementia or other disabilities such as that. And so what you can do is log into your business listing once you've gotten one set up and select the features that your business has to offer. Not only is that a good thing to do, Stats Canada tells us that 1 in 5 Canadians have a disability. So there's, and more people with disabilities are starting to travel. So this is really becoming a growing travel market. The other thing you need to be aware of is that British Columbia, the government, is working toward developing accessibility legislation, which will have considerations for businesses, institutions, and other organizations. So that will be coming down in the very near future. So all you have to do is log into the portal, select the accessibility criteria for your business, and then those will be featured within the body of your business listing. Now, I would encourage you, even if you don't meet a lot of the criteria, select those that you do, because one of the greatest challenges for persons with disabilities when they're traveling is access to information so that they can make an informed decision around where they go. So this is just one way to make that easier for them. The other thing I wanted to mention on Hello BC is something called travel deals. So you can now add up to 3 travel deals on your business listing. So this is one way to encourage visitors to Hello BC to click through to your site, to raise awareness of your brewery, to feature maybe a new beer that you've developed or anything along those lines. And so when you add a travel deal to your business listing, it gets featured on the listing, it gets featured on the travel page, and it also gets featured in content throughout the Hello BC site that's related. So for example, if we have a page of beer content, one of your travel deals might show up there as well. Now, I mentioned travel trade and travel media earlier, and if you're unfamiliar, travel trade includes organizations such as tour operators, travel agents, receptive tour operators, or wholesalers. So with the exception of receptive tour operators who are based in British Columbia, the other actors I mentioned are based in countries that they represent. So that could be Germany, that could be Japan or Mexico. We have a team at Destination BC that works exclusively with travel trade to ensure that British Columbia remains top of mind in those markets. And they do that through product education, through building itineraries, and through doing what's called a familiarization tour or a FAM tour, where we take people around to showcase product. Our travel media team works with journalists, influencers, and broadcasters to develop and pitch stories that also keep British Columbia top of mind. And similar to trade, they often participate in familiarization tours, and they also have a visiting journalist program where we'll support journalists who already have an assignment and are going to be writing about British Columbia. So just like our content team, our trade and media teams are always looking for new product information, new story ideas, new ways to build out itineraries with some local flavor, and they'll often include breweries and BC Ale Trail content in those opportunities. So again, if you have a story to tell or a hook, or you want us to be aware of something, keep these channels in mind. So as I mentioned, here's a couple of the ways that you can connect with some of those things that I've just mentioned. For Hello BC listings, you can email us at the industry development email you see. To claim your Hello BC business listing, you could go to destinationbc.net, but as I said, you have to get your TripAdvisor listing first. Please do use #ExploreBC and @HelloBC to ensure that we're seeing your content on social. And if you want to connect with travel trade, here's all the appropriate contacts that are involved in those different markets. And again, I'll share this with you after the presentation. So now let's move on to education. So the industry development unit that I manage develops and delivers a number of resources, and there's really sort of three areas that I want you to be aware of. First, there's the Learning Center. So this you'll find on our corporate website, which is destinationbc.ca. We develop tools and resources in all the subjects that you see on the screen, and that might look like an article, it could be a guide, it could be a checklist or a video on how to do any number of things. We tend to focus pretty heavily on digital marketing and in experience development, but we do touch all the subjects. So for example, I just talked to you about travel trade. If you're interested in learning more about travel trade, you might want to look at our Working with Travel Trade guide, or you might want to look at the Are You Travel Trade Ready, which is a checklist to see if your business is ready, is trade ready rather. I also mentioned accessibility, and we have 15 resources on accessible tourism on the Learning Center. One of my favorites is definitions of accessibility related terms. It's actually just a 9-page glossary of terms on sort of all those terms related to disability, which might not be like the most interesting tool that you've ever seen, but I think it's really important because, you know, words matter and they help shape understanding and break down stereotypes. And so I think that's a really great starting point if accessibility is one of those subjects you're interested in exploring more on. And we're always trying to update information on the Learning Center on a regular basis, so it's always good to check back in. Now, whenever we have a new webinar or workshop on that we're offering, we're not doing workshops right now, obviously because of COVID, but someday we'll hope to be back out in communities again. We post them on the Learning Center. And one of the ones that we are offering right now as a webinar is the Tourism Digital Academy. This is an 8-week digital marketing program for businesses that want to bump up to an intermediate level of digital marketing expertise. And so we start off by looking at your digital strategy, and then we dive deep into subjects such as search engine optimization, digital advertising, content marketing, email, a number of different subjects. When you come out the other end, you should have a really good start on a digital marketing strategy for your business. So this program is designed for small business owners or their marketing staff. And as I said, we try really hard to provide sort of actionable, practical information that you can take away and really start to make some changes in your business. Now, I'm happy to say that just yesterday, we opened our spring intake, which is our 9th intake of this program, which is going to start on March 22nd and run through till May 14th. Now, unfortunately, we opened it yesterday afternoon, and by 9 a.m. this afternoon or this morning, we already had 17 of the 25 seats spoken for. But if you're interested in the program and you missed the spring intake, we'll probably end up closing registration, I would say today or tomorrow at the rate that we're going. We will be offering this program again in the fall, sometime between mid-September and mid-December, and then again next January through March. So there are another 4 offerings that are planned for this program. And we're also making this program into an on-demand version, which is completely self-guided. And so you'll be able to log in and access the tools and resources on your own time. So if that is something that works better for you, then stay tuned for that opportunity, which we hope to have launched in sort of March. The final thing that I wanted to mention on the educational side is our partnership with Small Business BC. So we partnered with Small Business BC back in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, and it was one way that we wanted to support small businesses in any way that we could. So Small Business BC offers 2 services. One is an advisory service. So if you've got a real sticky business question, maybe you need to talk to a lawyer or a human resource professional or a business strategist, you can access that through Small Business BC. Additionally, Small Business BC offers a number of educational webinars, and I just picked 2 that are coming up, but they have like 30 plus webinars that are coming up between now and the end of March. And a lot of them complement what we do at Destination BC. So what we've done is we have a special discount code. You just have to email us, we'll share the code, and then you can access any of these resources for free. This deal, though, does expire around the end of March. So if it's something you're interested in, I do encourage you to take advantage of it soon. And so here's all the ways to connect on those opportunities: the Learning Center, the Digital Academy, and the Small Business BC opportunity. Finally, I want to get into some information. Destination BC produces a lot of really useful data and information for businesses across the province. And there's a couple areas that I want to touch on today. So first, you may be familiar with our framework for a pandemic response. So back in March, when the pandemic hit BC, we quickly developed a 3-phased approach of response, recovery, and renewal. And then we aligned this with the provincial government's restart plan that was launched in May. So we've worked closely with a variety of partners in provincial government, in the federal government, with various organizations to ensure that the approach that we take around COVID-19 and responding and recovering from that is closely aligned with those of our partners. And since March, we've shared all of this information through our bi-weekly industry calls, as well as on our corporate website. And so we have what we call our COVID-19, which you can see there on the screen. So any of this information you can find there. So one of the things that we've been doing throughout the course of the COVID pandemic is what we're calling our messaging guidance. So I know that a lot of the provincial health orders and a lot of the things that are constantly changing can be very challenging. And so what we try to do is simplify that for businesses and for community DMOs, and we update this document regularly. You can see that this one goes from January 8th to February 5th. We know that on Friday, February 5th, when the current health orders expire, they're either going to be extended or there might be something new, and at that point we'll update this guidance. So this is a great opportunity if you're wondering how to communicate some of the changes and things that are happening to your customers. You can refer to the messaging guidance and check it out. You know, it's an odd place for our organization to be in telling people not to travel, for an organization who is literally built to tell people to travel. But we are still doing this in a way that we're trying to cap registers to ring. And so by focusing on local opportunities, whether it's local restaurants or shopping local or supporting local artisans, we're trying to, through our various channels, to support local businesses as best we can. So through, in that vein, one of our campaigns that we're running right now is called Stay Local, Support Local, and we'll continue with this campaign. So this encourages residents to stay put in their home communities and support the tourism businesses in their own communities, as I said, by supporting local restaurants and artisans and what have you. So as you are probably aware, our marketing campaign has been on pause until February 5th, and then we'll wait to hear what Dr. Henry has to say on Friday before we make any decisions about what happens next. But our marketing team right now is actively planning for our spring and summer marketing campaign. And if we get the go ahead, we're gonna sort of open those gates, hopefully. So let's keep our fingers crossed. I know it's a difficult time, but we know that it is in the best interest of all BCers if we follow the local guidelines and stay local, and hopefully that will bring that curve back down and we'll see travel reopen soon. So I don't have a lot of time to go into the details of this specific campaign, but I do encourage you to tune in to our industry calls where information on campaigns are provided regularly. I also mentioned that we have a business unit called Research, Planning and Evaluation, and they produce a lot of great research content on markets to British Columbia, regional research on how the industry is doing, and you can find that on our corporate website. And maybe you yourself are thinking about conducting some research. Maybe you want to survey your customers, for example. They're also a great resource to answer any questions about how you might do that effectively. Since the beginning of COVID, they have been tracking and commissioning research to track how the COVID pandemic has been impacting tourism, as well as how local residents are feeling about travel. And so they tend to ask questions around, you know, how do you feel about travel from within your community, from across British Columbia, or from abroad? So in the last wave of public perception research that they completed just in January of 2021, they added a new question to the research, and I thought this was pretty interesting. They asked what measures would help increase the comfort of local residents to welcome travelers back to their community, because as we know, some communities are concerned about having travelers visiting. At 84%, the top measure that survey participants identified was that local businesses are following the protocols and requirements. So I think that really gives us something to consider for all of us to think about how we can build back confidence in tourism again. And finally, the research team is really proud to have unveiled just last week their new industry performance dashboard. So you can, if this is an interactive dashboard, you can go in and pull information going back as far as 2015 if you're really into time series data analysis. So similar to our tourism industry publication that we've done, it features provincial and community level data on how the industry is doing. And as I said, you can go back as far as 2015, so you can pull sort of whatever you're looking for, and you can do that through our corporate website. Pretty straightforward and intuitive. Here are all the ways that you can connect with us. We're on LinkedIn and we're on Twitter. You can also subscribe to our newsletter. And that email you see at the bottom of your screen, if you want to join in on the industry calls, just email that COVID-19 response email and they'll send out the invitation. Our next call is actually next Thursday, February 11th. So if you haven't sat in before, there's usually some really good information presented there. So that is it for me, and I think we might have some time for some questions. I'm not sure if... Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm just going to answer the ones in the chat or if somebody's moderating these questions or not, so I'll just take a look and see.
Yellow Dog opened in the summer of 2014, based here in Port Moody. We make high quality beer. It's a place in the community for people to gather, hang out, have a nice craft beer. It was important for us that Zeemac understood what our business needs were and then customized the vehicle for us based on those needs. Our fleet has to be unique a little bit. I mean, we can't just go rent a truck from budget. It might not meet the weight capacity that we put on the back of our truck. We have to have a metal floor in our truck so the beer doesn't slide around. Power options are important for us, so the driver needs to adjust his mirror. We would want to have hooks on the wall so we could strap the beer in. So we really needed the help of Zeemac to customize the vehicle for us.
We need to have good equipment because it's very important knowing like the challenges of getting from point A to point B, especially like downtown in those really tight alleyways where there's a truck blocking you. Now you got to back out onto a busy street without being able to see. If it breaks down or if we get stranded, it's a lot of money gone by having a vehicle break down.
5 years ago, Port Moody was a fairly small, unknown community. I believe with the help of Yellow Dog and all the other breweries on the road now, has become a destination for people. We really rely on Zeemac to customize the vehicle for us and for what our needs are. And as we continue to grow, we're not looking for a vehicle that helps us today. We're looking for that vehicle that's going to be there for us next year, 2 years, 3 years down the road.
I'm really proud of the quality beer that we make, and Zeemac helps us get that quality beer to our customers.
Hello, everybody. Okay, can you hear me? Just somebody give me a little heads up in the chat. Awesome. There's an issue with that Zeemac commercial. There's no way Yellow Dog is only delivering a pallet that is a third full. They deliver way more beer than that. I've seen it. My name is Jordan Foss. I'm from Steel and Oak Brewing Company. I'm going to be the moderator for the last half of today. I apologize that you have to be stuck with me. If you have any questions, please do put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to create some on my own. Jen, thank you very much for the presentation. Before I get to questions, I just want to say that I am in the current intake of the digital marketing class, and it's only been 2 days, but it's the most organized thing I've ever been a part of. And so I do recommend hopping on any future intakes if you can. It's been very valuable so far. So kudos to your team for putting that together.
Thank you for that, Jordan. Really appreciate it.
The first question I have for you, which I believe is from Chloe, is are there sectors or aspects of tourism that have fared better than others through COVID?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think certainly one of the areas that we saw through the summer was golf. You know, we knew coming into the tourism season this past summer that people were going to be looking at outdoor activities. And of course, golf is one of those great outdoor activities. So I believe that that sector has fared very well. I'm not sure about other sectors. I think, you know, like attractions, for example, are struggling because they're indoors and, you know, because of the pandemic, people are trying to do more outdoor activities. So, yeah.
Would you say, just to add on that question, that how is the wine industry really dealt with this compared to the brewery industry, I guess? Have they done a better job? Is there something that we could be learning from them? I mean, outside of obviously that location, they have a lot more outdoor space. But is there anything that you've seen in the winery industry, even maybe before the pandemic, that that breweries aren't doing that we could be leveraging?
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure that I really would have an answer to that, to be honest with you. I'm not like super familiar with what the wineries have been doing. I saw some early on examples earlier in the pandemic where they were getting ready for the season and really getting those protocols in place. And I did see a couple of wineries that I thought did a really excellent job of sharing that. You know, like, as I said in my presentation, like reassuring travelers is a really important thing. And you know, I've seen some YouTube videos, for example, of wineries where they've literally walked through, here's what we're doing to keep everyone safe. So I thought that those were some really smart ideas early on in the travel season.
Right, and I just want to, before I forget, to add to anybody that's watching out there, because you had mentioned about using the hashtag. The hashtag is Hello or Explore BC, correct?
Correct.
And yes, and I just want to recommend that for anybody that has a brewery that takes any sort of scenic shots. We've been fortunate enough to have an Explore BC hashtag taken from our Instagram account and reposted, and the amount of engagement and Instagram followers that we received in return was well worth it, to the point where I probably just spam Explore BC hashtag on everything I do now. So, but it actually works. I don't think that we leverage tourism enough, because I think as breweries, we kind of think of ourselves as, at least us in the Lower Mainland, that we're reliant upon local tourists in Metro Vancouver. But there is a lot more opportunity, and I think, as your presentation said, there's going to be even more once the pandemic hits with local tourism.
And on that note, if I may, one of the sections in the Learning Center is on the Supernatural BC brand, right? So it talks a little bit about the kind of imagery that we're looking for, as well as, you know, tone of voice and that kind of stuff. And so the ones that are like even more closely aligned to our brand are going to get, I know everyone has their own brand for sure, but there's a better opportunity that you'll get featured there as well.
Right. And I want to add, Monica had written, please also use the BC Ale Trail hashtag. So that's hashtag BC Ale Trail. It's just a super simple thing to get reposted. And to add on that, it's always great to look for your local city's hashtag. I know we do that all the time. And it makes its way into all sorts of, whether it's your local DMO, their Instagram or Twitter feed, or your local business improvement association. So, okay, there's another question here from Chloe that says, are you planning to market to the same regions once travel restrictions lift? Pacific Northwest, Alberta, California, Asia, etc. Or will you be more focusing on local?
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely going to depend on the health orders, and we do expect that international travel is going to open up much later. So our Asia markets, like our markets overall haven't changed, but the speed at which we go back into markets is going to depend on how widely travel reopens, the vaccination schedule, and most importantly, what our provincial health office is telling us. So, yeah.
Wonderful. And then I've got one question of my own. For breweries here, the best way for them to be featured on the Hello BC page or through any of the marketing material, would that would be to reach out to their local DMO or destination marketing organization, right? That's the acronym. So
Yeah.
Is that the best way to reach out to the local tourism board, I guess, and to, like you said, move it up the chain?
Yes, exactly. That is the best way. So reach out to your community destination marketing organization or your regional destination marketing organization, because we take content that ladders up from that community level and then we feature it. And we meet with them. We meet with the regions on a fairly regular basis to set our content plans for the coming months.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think unless there's any more questions, it doesn't look like it. So once again, thanks, Jen. Thank you so much for the presentation. Everybody give it up in your own home. I guess just clapping by yourself for Jenn MacIntyre from Destination BC. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yellow Dog opened in the summer of 2014, based here in Port Moody. We make high quality beer. It's a place in the community for people to gather, hang out, have a nice craft beer. It was important for us that Zeemac understood what our business needs were and then customized the vehicle for us based on those needs. Our fleet has to be unique a little bit. I mean, we can't just go rent a truck from budget. It might not meet the weight capacity that we put on the back of our truck. We have to have a metal floor in our truck so the beer doesn't slide around. Power options are important for us. The driver needs to adjust his mirror. We would want to have hooks on the wall so we can strap the beer in. So we really needed the help of Zeemac to customize the vehicle for us.
We need to have good equipment because it's very important knowing the challenges of getting from point A to point B, especially downtown in those really tight alleyways where there's a truck blocking you. Now you got to back out onto a busy street without being able to see. If it breaks down or if we get stranded, it's a lot of money gone by having a vehicle break down.
Five years ago, Port Moody was a fairly small, unknown community. I believe with the help of Yellow Dog and all the other breweries on the row now has become a destination for people. We really rely on Zeemac to customize the vehicle for us and for what our needs are. And as we continue to grow, we're not looking for a vehicle that helps us today. We're looking for that vehicle that's going to be there for us next year, 2 years, 3 years down the road.
I'm really proud of the quality beer that we make, and Zeemac helps us get that quality beer to our customers.